Justus, and today we're talking about something very crucial. We're talking about money. We're talking about finances and its management, especially or specifically in the church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Of course, money as we know it can be a source of a lot of things, and if not well managed or accounted for, it could as well be a source of conflict. And so the Adventist Church has been very deliberate, especially in this region of East Central Africa, to make sure that there's transparency as well as a system that helps the church to manage the resources, because these are funds that have been given to do the work of God. And so it's only fair to make sure that they do that which they have been assigned to do. And so to help me put this into perspective, I have my guest who is the IT manager for the East Central Africa Division, yes, which is the regional office for the Adventist Church in East and Central Africa,
right,
based here in Nairobi, Brother Hagai Abuto. Welcome.
Thank you, Justice.
Asante sana for
Glad
creating time
yes,
to come and clarify a lot of things around this finance management system that you have been really at the forefront,
right,
in spearheading and its implementation.
Right.
So I'm sure there are a lot of questions that many people would be having around what we are now calling CFMS, Church Finance Management System.
Right.
And that is why you're here. Because
Absolutely.
you are the experts.
I'm glad to be here.
So I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I have a lot of questions and concerns which I know many people would really be interested to know, because this is one system really that then if we are able to understand and utilize, I'm sure it will make such a big difference, right, in terms of how we manage resources and of course at the end of the day the work of God.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where do we start? Perhaps with the definitions.
Yes.
So we are talking about church finance management system. What exactly are we talking about?
You know, before we even talk about money, when I think about CFMS or church finance management system, I think about worship,
yes,
through giving. That is a basic idea. It's the foundation of everything. And that is what drives us, even as technocrats, in this forum. Now, when you talk about church finance management system, it's about a system that is very comprehensive.
Yes.
It takes care of how funds are received from the church members, how they are disbursed to the relevant targeted accounts.
Yeah.
As a church member, when I go to my church, my local church, I go and I know today I'm going to return my tithe. And I'm also going to give some offering. When I talk about offering, there's a portion that goes to the conference. There's a portion also that remains the local church. But again, there are a few other giving categories domiciled in the local church.
Yes.
So this system helps me to distribute these giving categories, my funds within these giving categories. And the moment I complete my giving process using the channel I choose, then the system is intelligent enough to know where this money should be channeled. So it makes it easy, right? But apart from that, once this money has been given, the people responsible for knowing how much was collected, they have visibility provided by this system. Through the web, to the mobile app, and if you want a desktop application, you can also get that. At the same time, the different administrative levels of the church, like the conference, the union, they have all visibility of how funds move. And so there's a lot of transparency when it comes to giving through this method. And the most important is the convenience, you know,
yes,
and the promptness and the reliability that attends to this kind of initiative.
I'm sure we shall be looking at, in a detailed way,
right,
some of those technical aspects of the platform, and of course how then that translates into the convenience that you have talked about.
Right.
But perhaps just taking you back a little bit in terms of what necessitated this kind of concept
Right.
What were the gaps perhaps that you looked at and felt there was need to come up with such a system, to help in terms of finance, management within the church?
Right. Yeah, the genesis of this is when we started rolling out digital programs for the local church. And the first time we did this was we were rolling out what is called Adventist Church Management System, which takes care of the members' data in the database. But when we went out there, we met the local church treasurers who were asking us, guys, can you come up with a system that can also help us as local church treasurers? Because you'll agree with me that local church treasurers, most of the time, they don't even have time to attend Bible studies. Because once people collect money, return through envelopes or cash, then they spend time now counting and recording. And many times the recording, because it's done manually, there's a lot of errors with it. So imagine that you're going back home with what they call in a counter shot. In other words, there's a disparity between what you have and what has been recorded. So you came to worship and you go back home sad. Secondly, we met church members who are saying, hey guys, can you give us a system? I'm a trader, like a business person. Then I make my profit on a Monday. Should I wait for Sabbath to give? Then we align this.
When money is in the pocket, it speaks to you.
It speaks to you, And that's when you think of other needs. There's no guarantee by the time your Sabbath reaches, you still have this money.
Yeah.
You may have the intention, but the money is not there. So we realize that we're supposed to bring out a system where somebody is able to just engage with the system and give money in real time, really, return.
Yes.
At the same time, we realize that because of the many human hands involved, right, there's a lot of errors within, right? So sometimes when you're looking at the reports and the records, they don't tally with the funds that have been collected. So we say, no, let's go to and explore the digital platform, which has a limitless kind of resources. So we're in the digital world and we say you're not moving back. Yeah.
Wow. And, this really, when you talk about it, it sounds as if the whole idea came in really just at the right time, especially looking back for the last 2 years. Right. We have been, struggling with the effects of COVID-19, and even worship has been affected in a very big way. People are no longer, coming together physically, especially during worship. Right. And so we have had more virtual church meetings than physical. Right. And so providing a platform, a digital platform for people to actually be able to even give their offering and return tithe, then perhaps has been a blessing, so to speak. And one would maybe be forgiven to think that this concept came as a result of COVID. But actually, I came to learn that, it started way back before COVID-19.
No, I mean, God is amazing. I look at the way He brings revelations to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in an amazing way. You'll be surprised that this concept came to us, and the idea came to us before the COVID pandemic. That was sometimes in 2019, right? And by 2019 beginning, we're already piloting with a few churches to see how it works. So by the time COVID knocked at our doors, we already had a system that the church members would use to return tithe and give offerings. Yeah. So they would worship virtually, but again, be enabled to send back their contributions, virtually. And so we just said, praise God for this idea, because God never disappoints or never fails.
Wow.
Right.
For someone who perhaps is new in the faith and does not understand a lot about how we have been giving offering and returning tithe in the past, and how the same has been managed and all the levels of distribution. Right. Describe to us briefly the old way of doing things, so that we can be able to appreciate the new system that you're now introducing to us.
Right. Yeah, the Bible says, bring your tithe to the storehouse of God. The Bible does not say this is how you should bring it. The admonition is bring. So over time, people have been returning their tithe and offering. In fact, if you go to the village, some people do bring grains or animals, livestock, their first harvest, the first fruits of their harvest.
Yes.
And they would be accepted. But the most conventional has been returning cash, especially to the envelopes. Look at that envelope.
Yes.
We had a church function and somebody told me, Haggai, this is the envelope you have? Then he said, since you're doing construction, I'm going to stuff in money just enough for this envelope. Because that's what the channel you provided. So he stuffed and he said this is enough because I think that's all
the
he needed.
The envelope can only hold so much.
So much.
Yeah.
So when it came to the aspect of envelopes, it's a good idea. It served us very well, but it came with challenges because some of the challenges that were there is somebody puts in like 100 shillings, but they forget and write 1,000, where you write what you're giving for.
Yeah.
So then the deacons and the treasury clerks start wondering what really happened. You have to look for them and all that. And somebody also says that I want to give 500 out of this 1,000 note. So you have to look for change.
Yes.
So it's a helter-skelter motion for the clerical, staff of the treasury department. They don't have time to worship. So when you look at the way it was, this money would be collected. Then the treasurer would now sit down and record how much was tithe, how much was combined offering. Then he does the manual distribution. Then he takes this money and then sends the portion of the conference. Maybe he goes to bank it, or when M-Pesa came, he goes to send to the M-Pesa, the mobile wallet. But it came with a lot of challenges because between collection and banking, even security issues were there. That's why you saw at some point now in time, some big churches, large congregations, they would hire security vehicles to come and, security staff to come and take the money to the bank.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. And that's what now we are transforming into a digital platform.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. So 2019, you rolled out the pilot.
Yeah.
How was the roll-up and what was the, targeted beneficiary?
Right. Yeah. So what happened, we started with a few churches just to test the waters. That was our intention. But of course, when COVID came, then everybody wanted to come on board. But I want to share with you an experience. When we were rolling out, I met an old man who told me, my son, this is the best thing you've brought in our lifetime. He asked me, you mean when I'm sick in the hospital, I can still return my tithe? I said, yes. Even at home, when I'm unwell, I can still return my tithe and get my receipt. Because as I'll explain later, the moment you give your tithe and offering, you get electronic receipt.
Yes, yes.
So you can get my receipt electronically? I said, yes. He said, thank you very much. Held my hand, say, thank you very much. So when we saw the response, especially from the treasurers, who now, like the treasurers team that encourage their members to get full board on this system, they had a lot of time now for worship. There's some churches who said, we are not using any other manual way. Everybody must get on this platform. And we saw the results, and especially when we realized that in some places, giving was going up. It means therefore that there are people who, I would not say like money was being stolen or something like that, but people who are not enjoying the convenience that this system brings.
Yes.
Maybe they just forget. But now with this, you get and you return. So we realize that some places, the amounts of giving went up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I would like us to explore some of the opportunities that this system, avails, especially during worship.
Right.
But just to perhaps shed more light in terms of the system itself.
Yeah.
And how it works really.
Right.
If you may explain this in the simplest way possible.
Right.
I know it's technical.
Yeah.
But for someone who you would want to be part of this or to utilize this platform, of course they have to understand some basic
Right.
of how it works. So what gadgets do you need?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what kind of infrastructure really is needed, and coverage? Do I
Yes.
need to be in the cities to benefit from these and those kind of things?
Right, right. Yeah, so if you're able to use like M-Pesa or mobile money, then you are skilled enough to use this system. Now, this system has like two main channels of giving. The first thing is what we call a USSD channel. USSD channel may sound big, but it's a very simple, basic thing. When you dial like *144 in Kenya here, hash, we have a Safaricom line to check your balance. You're using a USSD
Yes.
channel. Or if you want to check your bank account balance in the bank using your phone, the bank gives you a channel that you dial. So a USSD code is just a way of interacting with the database for giving or getting information. So every country in our division has a USSD channel. The moment you dial this USSD channel, the first thing, if you're a new person into the system will ask you to provide your church code. So we have coded all the churches in our division. Every church has a unique code. So what you just need to do is to know your code, which if you don't know, you can contact your pastor or your local conference. They will be given the information. With your church code and your mobile phone, you should be able now to dial and register. Registration is very simple. You just need your names, and then that's it. Then the church code and your names, and that's it. Because a channel of giving is just for giving.
Yeah.
We've also provided, if you want to give anonymous, some people prefer not to be, the names, the identity not to be revealed. So we've provided anonymous giving. So once you dial, and then the system will ask you, what do you want to give for? You know, in our church, there's what we call trust fund. Trust fund is a fund the church holds on trust, like tithe.
Yes.
Tithe is a trust fund. I give it in my local church, but it should go to the conference.
To the conference.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we have other, like combined offering, which is split in on a percentage predetermined by the local conference. So once you select what you're giving for, like today, Haggai is giving for tithe, combined offering this amount, then maybe church choir this amount, or Pathfinder this amount, the system will only ask me to put my PIN. Then once I confirm by putting my PIN, the transaction process is completed. Then I get my electronic receipt, and my transaction is recorded in the database.
Which for the local church, or who has access to the database?
The local church treasurer
Yes.
has access to the database for the local church only.
Okay.
Right? The pastor can also access to view reports. Right? Then the local conference can also access this system to view reports. Right? And do analysis and see which areas are strong, which areas needs emphasis, and all that. So once you do that using a USSD channel, then your heart is right with God in terms of worship through giving.
And where does this money go?
Right. That's the next question, and I'm glad you've asked it. The moment this money is, you send it, the system knows what should go to the local conference account and the local church account. So we have automated that process with no human intervention. The percentages are read by the system, then the distribution is done automatically. Right. So what we need is just your church to have a bank account. All right. And every country, we give full information about how to open bank accounts and all that. So once that is done, then it's complete. But the other channel, we also developed a mobile app. Mobile app, which now you don't have to make many dials. You just open it up. I'll show you maybe in our subsequent meetings that you just open the app, then the categories of givings are listed.
Yes.
You just insert the amount, you submit, put your mobile PIN, then that's it. It's completed. The beautiful thing about the mobile app is that all your historical records, all your givings history, you can retrieve it and access it and even put it on PDF.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, what I like is that you've been able to accommodate
Right.
everyone. Because when you're talking about the first channel, which is the USSD,
Yeah.
then it means whether you have a smartphone
Right.
or any phone, then you can be able to access the service.
Yes, yes. And what will surprise you, Justice, is that people who are remotely placed, like in the villages, they went ahead of people in town.
Is that so?
That's what the surprising statistics, right? Because we went there, and because of the many challenges they had, because in the towns you find maybe some churches have some accounting system, some had pay bills, and I'll talk about pay bill and the challenges it has shortly. But these people do not have any system. The moment you introduce this system to them, they pick it up and run with it. And they say, hallelujah, this is God sent. So even the mama mboga somewhere, mama mboga, when I talk of that term, for those who don't speak Swahili, are the low-scale type of business people, right? So the guys who do like earn wages on a daily basis and all that, they're able to send. And what will surprise you is that we are seeing as low like as $1 or half a dollar or 20% of a dollar. People are giving just what they get at the end of the day. So everybody's accommodated, because previously the old system, if I had a coin sometimes to give, I would go like, wow, I'm embarrassed. But this one I can send a shilling, 2 shillings, anything.
The basket comes and you're like, how do I even put 10 shillings?
How do I put 10
Everybody
shillings?
else perhaps around you is,
Yeah.
pulling 1,000 shilling note.
That's it.
So you would rather...
And you know the embarrassment, if it
Yes.
drops down, the sound it makes. So you go like, no, let's do it soft way, use the digital format.
But this one you can discreetly, give your...
Yeah.
Wow.
You can even do it anonymous without revealing who you are, so long as the Lord knows.
It already seems there are a lot of advantages here.
Yeah.
But now for someone who is just looking at it from really a neutral point of view, and, they are coming from the school of thought that, the rest, those are details in terms of the processes and all those kind of things. Once I give, whatever you go through to make sure the money is used where it's supposed to be used is up to you. For me, as long as I give.
Yeah.
So what value really would this new system add to my worship experience, than what I have been used to in the past?
Yeah, I think when you look at the reliability and the convenience, that's key, right? Because yes, previously you would give, but like you travel, for example, then you have to wait until the time you go back to your church to physically present to give in the old order. But right now I can be in Uganda and I send money to my local church and I'm just okay, right? So I think the fact that we have that connection with our giving experience in our hands, I think that cannot be traded for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, the other group that benefits most from this, as you have rightly mentioned, are the local church treasurers.
Right.
And one key thing to note is time.
Yeah.
The amount of time that they usually spend just putting all these records together and harmonizing everything really is just too much.
Too much, yeah.
And you rightly said that sometimes they don't even get time to worship because they are busy just making sure that the records are put together.
Right.
What other advantages does the system give or bring, especially to the local church treasurers?
Yeah, in fact, even to the user, there's one thing I wanted to mention is that it helps you to do what is called systematic or planned giving. Right now, I can schedule my giving very well using this platform, knowing that at the end of the month, I send 5,000 Kenya shillings for development in my church. So the moment I do it, I'm done, right? And since I have it here, my salary hits here, I get a notification, right away I send my money to the church. So that is a very key thing. But you mentioned rightly the treasurer, or deal, I would say. One thing about treasury is that it's not an office that you want to change people all the time.
Yeah.
So you may find somebody serving as a treasurer for 3 years. And it's 3 years of turmoil. 3 years, if you're a young treasurer, of not sitting with your children or your spouse in church, like on a Sabbath afternoon, because you're counting money.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen people decline those roles,
Yes, yeah.
when there are those nomination exercises, and someone,
Yeah.
just says no.
No.
This, kindly
No,
allow
no,
me,
no. I want to be anything
because
else
of
but
what
not
it
treasurer.
involves and what it takes away from you, as a person, really, especially worship, affecting your worship time
Right.
and experience.
No, it's not something that is fashionable anymore. That's why people would easily decline. But with this now, can you imagine, like I've seen churches where they've gone on full board. The treasurer just logs in to check reports, that's it. But maybe one thing you'd ask me, and I see you're almost asking me, how about those who bring cash?
Yeah.
They're also catered for, right? We encourage them to put in the envelope. Then just write your telephone number on that envelope. You'll be able to receipt it as you had intended and send you a receipt electronically. But the beautiful thing is that you've also introduced what is called a portable PDQ, or a POS that is portable, but runs on Android platform. So with these, those who still want to get a physical receipt, right? They're also served, because this POS, portable POS, it allows us, it contains this database, it connects to a database, all right? And it's an interface.
Yes.
That I can select your name, put the categories you wanted to give, then print. At the same time, send you an electronic receipt. But if you really want a physical receipt, I should be able to print it and give it to you.
So are these gadgets available
Yes,
for
yes,
the local treasurer?
yes. And those who want, we are piloting it. I have a sample I'll be able to show you before we leave, then and how it works.
So that means then, if there are those who still want to bring their money physically to church, the local church treasurer and his team can still be able to transfer this data to the system.
They travel the system, and the beautiful thing is, even if you don't have this gadget called the POS, this mobile app, there's a login for church personnel. The local church treasurer logs in, then we put a feature called receipting. Receipting does the same way you do manually. The only thing is you don't write now, but you select those predefined categories. And then when you close that transaction, for example, for Justus will get a receipt on his telephone. And that's it. And then you have all the records in the database. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing perhaps I would want to task you to give us some more information about is the trend, perhaps, that you have been able to see from the time of implementation, when you started rolling out this from the pilot up to now. I don't know how long that has been already, and what has been the trend in terms of giving. How has it affected the giving?
Right. Yeah, we have very positive testimonies from people, like local church treasurers and some local conference treasurers. We have seen an upward trend in giving, right? There are places where we've seen like 40% increase, in giving. But what I like is that we've not got the numbers going down of users. Every Sabbath, every week, every day, the numbers are going up. And what would surprise you is that there's no single day that people don't give. Every day we record a lot of transactions.
Not just on Sabbath?
No, not just on Sabbath. And now what is interesting is that you see a transaction at 3 a.m. Wow. So what does that tell me? This guy woke up to pray, then he also decided to give worship through giving. Then that is it. Then I go like, wow, God, thank you for this system. Right.
Wow. Okay, so wow, this is really, and so people are really upbeat about, at least for those who have started using the system. You're saying that the feedback has been encouraging.
Yeah.
And so where are we in terms of rolling out?
Right now we've covered Western Kenya Union Conference very well. We are rolling out actively in East Kenya Union Conference. We are starting implementation in Tanzania. They're going on very well. Rwanda, they've done 1 year now. Uganda, we are launching in about a week's time. And then we go to Congo, then Ethiopia, then South Sudan, then Djibouti, and also Burundi.
Yeah, because when, of course, you're talking about the region,
Yeah.
you're serving 11 countries.
11 countries, yes. Yeah.
But so far, the presence of the system within the 11 countries.
Yes. Kenya.
Yes.
We have Kenya, we have Uganda, we have Tanzania, and Rwanda. Mm-hmm. Yes. That was our initial first phase. Now we are moving to the second phase next month, that is February 2022.
Okay.
Right.
So, of course, this is not a system that just happened overnight. There has been a lot of work that has gone into it, even to the stage that we are right now. Tell us something about, briefly, the integration work without sounding too technical about it.
Yeah, this system involves a number of players. But you realize that every country is unique when it's come to technical integration. In Kenya here, we are using 2 MNOs. With the example, that is Safaricom and Equitel. We had to finalize our integrations with Airtel for Airtel Money. But we're also using selected banks, like here we're using mostly Equity Bank. When you go to Tanzania, we are using all the 3 MNOs. Right, major MNOs, that is Tigo, Voda, and also Airtel.
Yes.
Then Uganda, we are using Airtel and MTN. Rwanda, we are using Airtel and also MTN. But then we use also banks which have a large presence in the grassroots. Because I know our people, some still believe on brick and mortar when it's come to banking. We are moving to digital banking, but many people still want to see, bank branches, physical branches. Yeah. So when we bring all these players together, the concept and idea belongs to us. We actually sat down and drew this on paper, how we wanted it to flow, and we are very keen not to just produce another accounting package. Yeah. Because if you bring an accounting package to church, then it means the treasurer still have to sit down and get money and record. Or somebody uses a pay bill, then they still have to send a message to the treasurer, then he has to key in this. So it's still a lot of work for them. But this system with the different players, we sit down, we discuss. Most of the time when we tell like a bank, this is what you want to, they go like, what? Is this doable? Then we tell them, yes, this is doable because digital world is limitless in terms of ideas and resources. So we sit down with our developers and we tell them, let's try it out. Let's see how it works. Yes. Then now we panel beat as we move on. So I would say that we've undergone a lot of changes since we started. The first idea and where we are now, we'll be talking about version 9. If the first idea was version 1, for example. Yeah. Every day we get new idea and we see how to bring it in. But the most important thing to us is that security. We must make sure that this system is secure.
And that was actually going to be my next question. How, the members really need to be guaranteed that the safety aspect and, how secure is the system really. Right. And maybe if you can give that assurance in terms of what you have put in place to ensure that is taken care of.
Right. The first thing, it involves money. Money and where it's kept is a headache of the bank. It involves MNOs. The channels are well protected by how they protect it. We have a database that we run. We host it with the international hosting services providers. I have not revealed which one, but these are international tested hosting services, and we are happy with it so far. The other thing is that we have an external party that do for us just a security audit. Right, just to make sure that we're okay. So we are not giving anything to chance. And one thing about this system is that we make it very flexible. If Justice wants to give really without revealing his identity whatsoever, you should be able to do that without a problem. Right.
As we perhaps come to the end of this conversation, of course, not to mean that we are exhausting all the issues today. We still
Yeah.
have a lot of things that will create time to be able to look at one after the other.
Right.
This is just an icebreaker, really.
Yes.
You know, why was it so important for the church really to consider spending, because this, I believe, has taken quite a number of an amount of resources
Yes,
that
yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
we have utilized quite
Yeah.
enough just to
Yeah.
make sure we put this system in place. Why would the church go to that level of using your expertise, time,
Yeah.
and resources into creating such a system? How important is this, especially now when it boils down to the worship experience and
Right.
the role of the church?
Right. We are living in a digital generation, and we said as a church we must not be left behind. Let me just take you back. I was talking to an old pastor. He was narrating to me how they used to, what we call in the church cycles, reporting at the end of the month or end of the quarter. It was telling me the conference office was very far from where he used to stay or where he was pastoring. And it would take him like 1 week to reach it on his bicycle. So he would carry money in a box, right? Then he would sleep in the nearest homestead where dusk would get him. He would just knock and say, "Can I get accommodation?" Those days there were no security issues like today. But I look at it and I said, if you stuck to this without aligning to the digital world, where would we be as a church? You agree with me, just as you also in the media, that media can do anything. I mean, those who have been brought to Christ through media, okay? People who have been converted because the pastors will not reach where they are. But through the media, technology, you've been able to reach them.
Right.
So if media can bring people to church, why can't also technology give them the ability and enabling to worship through giving? Then it's a complete process. So we said if we can make life easy for that local church treasurer and the local church pastor, because I told you now we are rolling out two important things, the membership management and also now the finance management. It therefore means that the pastor will now concentrate on his first calling, which is evangelism, nurture and retention, right? Then he let these other things be performed by the digital technology that is available to us, right? Yeah. So what inspired us, and I would really thank the leadership of the division who have been spearheading this, is to make it easy for us, easy for the church member, based somewhere in the village, based somewhere in town, so that the work of a church treasurer, church pastor, church elder is not so hard. I've been to some church board or church business meeting where records are in shambles. You don't know where to begin, you don't know where to end. But with this digital system, it's just a matter of producing a report, and you can go back to whatever time you want, and that's it. So we are putting our church aligning it with where the world is, and we don't want to be left behind.
And of course, records are very important.
Right.
Lest we get lost in the money issue and think that this is just about making sure that the church collects as much as possible.
That's it.
There's nothing wrong in collecting anyway, because it's for the service, really. But apart from just collection itself, I think what this system does is to make sure that you have information, you have data that then can even help you when you're making decisions going forward.
That's true. Yeah, you can actually project and say, this is a giving trend. So I need my church, the welfare department, by the end of the year, we should be having like 1 million because it's a trend. But allow me to add something else.
Yes.
Which is very important. You may want to ask, why are some churches using the system? Why are some churches not using the system? I think what we've realized is that the information has not reached people as it's supposed to be. And that's why we are having this discussion with you, so that our members can be reached and know exactly how it is. Because sometimes when information reaches point A, by the time it lands at point Z, there's a lot of distortion. And what you intended to communicate has been seriously tampered with. So we are telling the people, what you have said is all about CFMS. Anything else that you may have heard that discourages you is not it. This is something that was brought to us by God himself. The leaders took it up, they sent us out to implement it, and we can proudly say that so far we've seen the hand of God. Yeah, so we encourage our members to seek information from the local church pastors, from the local church, the conferences. But we're also available. You can reach even the division directly. There are so many people who call me needing information, and I gladly give them information.
Of course, you said there's a mobile app.
Yes.
When you want to register or even give,
right.
Other than the USSD channel.
Yes.
Do you have a website
yes.
with more information for the same?
Yes. We have two websites. You can go to sdacfms.com for those who are based in Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC. Then for those who are based in Kenya, you do sdacfms.org. The other one is sdacfms.com. This other one is sdacfms.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can get
all the information you need.
All the information.
Yes.
Does that information include the codes? Because you remember at the point of registration, you're required to feed in the code for your local church.
Yes.
And, you said for you to access or to get that code, you need to contact your local church pastor or your conference. Yes. Some don't even know where to begin when it comes to looking for those office bearers. Those codes, are they available on the website, or are you planning to have them?
We have been discussing whether we should or should not.
Okay.
Because we wanted to see whether it really should go for public consumption or not. So we are still having that discussion. But in the meantime, they can get it from their local pastors, the local church, the local conference offices. Okay. But should there be any problem, let them contact Justus or Haggai directly. We'll be able to provide that.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we can have this conversation going on and on and on, but we of course, most importantly, encourage you to really come on board and be part of this wonderful opportunity that the Lord has given us through technology.
Yes.
And you will not regret. It will actually, in any case, improve our worship experience. Absolutely. As we have elaborately stated. If you have any questions around CFMS that you'd like us to address in our next conversation, kindly feel free to let us know.
Yes.
So that we can continue informing and educating one another for the glory of God.
Thank you.
Perhaps if you have any final words, at least for today, before we end it?
Yeah, I just want to encourage our church members to get on board. Get on board as immediately, really. If you have any challenges, let us know. But this is the direction the church is going, and it would be of interest to mention that it's not only in ECD that the digital journey is starting. Every other division in the world is going digital, because nobody really knows when the next lockdown will come and what that will mean to the church. But mission work has to continue. Yeah. But we've talked about all the good features of this system, and I want to encourage every church member to get on board this system. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Haggai, and for the work that you're doing. We keep praying for you and your team, and we know that the Lord is going to do the unimaginable in using our little effort and presence.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much. That's all we've had time for today. Catch us again next time as we discuss more topics around church management, finance management system, and other management systems. We have quite a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
A lot in the pipeline.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
Goodbye.